All right, Trinidad and Tim with the final five guys from the MLB Pipeline top 30 prospects. There probably won't be any surprises. Maybe the order might surprise you a little bit, but we've had, just a great list so far. Great time talking about these players, and we can't be more excited about what's coming down the pike in
Let's just say like this,
2023.
Tim. Let me just throw in a little something. We're
Yeah,
just very proud of all these guys that are made these top 30 lists. Doesn't mean that we're not proud of all the players that we've met so far in
yeah.
Ranch or any of them, but you know, just shows that the Dodgers prospects and all these guys in the minors are really working hard to develop their craft. I know you can't fit everybody on the 30th list, but just we just want to wish everyone, and we're happy for all of them for for what they do and keeping hard work on their talent as well.
Yeah, and in fact, remember we went through, probably a couple months ago. We went through the Fangraphs list, so you might want to take a look at that one because that has more players in it and some better coverage in terms of just overall things. You talk. Remember hearing Keith Law. I think it was with Jeff Snyder, talking about the Dodgers. They're it's just so deep.
Right.
Yeah. So you got teams that have really good talent at the top level, but the Dodgers, it goes, yeah, you could say there's a top 30-ish, but there's guys you can go. There would be even in the Dodgers 40s that would be making other teams top 30s.
Yeah.
And the difference between like player 30 and player 40 is nil.
Correct.
It's just you got to put someone in that list. So, given that, top 5. It's good. I mean, it's been good so far. It's gonna keep going good because we have Gavin Stone, the 2001 opening day starter for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. Um, got to see him a couple times there. Did you get to see him start?
It's funny actually. I got to see him start one game, but I've met him multiple times. But the one game I saw him pitch was literally the last one he pitched when he got called up.
Awesome. Yeah, Gavin. So Gavin was kind enough in early 2021 to give an interview with Ryan Falla, who's back writing with us. And Ryan, it's one of our best articles that we've had. Great coverage. A lot of people have seen it. Might want to go back and look at it just to go, hey, what was Gavin Stone thinking of back in 2021 when he was debuting at low A? And now he is, going to be starting again. I'm sure at worst case, he's going to be starting again at Tulsa, or not at Tulsa. Sorry. At Oklahoma City. He made it all the way up there last year, and he's gonna, for some people out of nowhere, but for some of us, it's not out of nowhere. And I actually finally got to meet him. During that whole COVID thing in 2021, I didn't get to meet anybody hardly. Um, so I got to meet Gavin in the clubhouse, and very polite young man. Actually, I met him outside with his family briefly, then talked to him a little bit in the clubhouse. Very, very polite, very humble, but very excited for the opportunities that he has. And he's probably of all the top right-handed prospects, he's the smallest one.
Right.
Um,
But he has
but
a lot of fight in him, just for sure. I mean, you could
yeah,
just see the way he go carries about himself. And I think I saw the last interview he did with forgot his name.
was it Steve?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah,
How he said, "Oh, there was really no off season for him." It's like if you really want it, you're going to keep working hard to get it.
yeah, and that's the type of person he seems to be. Draft from Central Arkansas. And the Dodgers picked him in the 5th round. And that draft so far, we have Bobby Miller, Gavin Stone, and we have Landon Knack. And then they traded Clayton Beeter. I think Casey Porter of Dodgers Daily is going to not very happy with that one. And we got the great Joey Gallo, who didn't get any at bats in the playoffs. So, yep, those things happen. But Gavin is another guy just making his mark. And I don't know. I think really, Trinidad, the question is, what month does he debut in 2023? Not if.
I think if I'm going to have to make a call on this one, I want to say, hey, now you put me on the spot. I want to say May. I want to say May. I have to
Wow.
say May. I have to
Wrong.
say May. For I don't know why. For some reason, I feel like if I really go back in through the last few years where pitchers have made their debuts, if you really seen it, other than the September call-ups where we always
Oh
get
yeah.
those MLB debuts, but right now I feel like starting pitchers we always need help. I think it's
Yeah.
always been late April till literally beginning of May where these guys call up and they make their debuts.
That's a really good take. I
So,
because now you maybe really think about that, going, hey, you know what? Okay, Kershaw's going to go down at some point,
right.
and someone else is going to go down where Gonsolin's down, and yeah, pitchers seem to they're it's that first month or two. It seems like they just start dropping like flies.
If you really think about it too, then you got Noah Syndergaard and Dustin May, who we don't even know how
Yeah.
healthy they're going to be too. So you got to really take consideration of that.
Did you see May pitch today at all?
Yeah, he was lights out as well today. I think it was like 4 innings shutout with like 8 Ks.
Beautiful. And then Syndergaard's been looking good too.
Yeah. So I mean,
I mean,
no disrespect to those guys. I mean,
yeah,
I and they had finally had a full off season where they could work out
yeah.
and develop themselves. But at the same time, too, I mean, these are two guys that are coming off of Tommy John
Hmm.
surgeries, and they just came back last season. So you don't know where exactly they'll be for a full year.
No, that's super true. You just don't know, and everyone recovers from Tommy John differently.
Right.
Oh,
Exactly.
with Michael Grove, it took years for him to get his command back. That's just the way it is. But so Gavin Stone is a guy that he has his control is already in a good spot. It sounds like he's got. It's the funniest thing is, Ryan Pepio for a couple years now. It's been always got the best changeup in the minor leagues, and now all of a sudden, they're already talking about Gavin Stone having a better one than Pepio. Holy
Mm,
smokes!
yeah,
Now,
I still think
oh my,
yeah,
just for that to
it's
even be a talk,
yeah,
but I don't know. Change, from my understanding, changeup is one of the hardest pitches to master, and
yeah,
the
it is
fact
really
that
hard.
we have two of our top pitching prospects have mastered the changeup. It's beautiful.
If I had to take a guess, or just in my opinion, I think Brian Pepio's changeup still a lot more devastating than Gavin Stone. Only because I feel like Brian Pepio has had that pitch for a long time now, and
Mm,
Gavin Stone has just started developing it. So I think
yeah,
that's just two comparisons that I gotta take away from that.
it's crazy though, and he got a 70 on his, and Pep. Let's see what Pep get. What did Pep get on his? A 60. I think that's way low. That's way
Yeah,
low, but still, and even in this picture, that's the grip right there for Pepio. And I think one of the reporters had Stone's grip on the Twitter. If I ever find that, I'll get that out. So Gavin Stone next. You guys probably got a little peek of that. A guy that hit a 2-run shot today. And
yeah.
today we're recording this on Sunday, 3/12/23. Michael Busch. I'm as probably a lot of I'm a huge fan of his hit tool. Um, I just think that the guy needs a place to play. Um, he's at that
Which I think
point.
he will be.
Yeah, he's just at that point where how much more can he do in the minor leagues? Yeah, I mean, he really is a play me or trade me. I hope they play him somehow. I think he somehow maybe he finds a spot. I don't know. He's had kind of a rough spring, but him getting the home run today is a nice thing. And he's been playing some second base, first base. I don't Has he played outfield yet? I haven't seen it.
No, he hasn't touched one lick yet of the outfield.
God, I just wonder why that is, but I'd
I
like to
think
see him out
mostly
there.
because of the whole second base situation. I'm assuming he's going to have to be, a primary second baseman from now on.
I don't know, man. Miggy looks really freaking good at second base.
That too. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to take anything away from Miggy. I just feel like right now, especially with Michael Busch just hitting well in the minors, just proving that he can hit. I mean, he's gonna have to be a call up sometime soon as
Yeah,
well.
he has to be. I mean, again, what else can he do in the
Hmm.
minor leagues to show that he's ready? I mean, he's probably my guess, and I think it's probably a good guess is Bush does start the season at AAA. And I would start playing him in left to see, get him some more versatility. And he's played a lot of first too. I mean, with Freeman gone, with the WBC, he's been able to get some more work in, and
which is a lot good for a lot of these young guys too.
yeah. Oh, it's been wonderful for these guys to have all those guys gone. The lineups have had three or four, prospect guys starting. It's
Yeah,
wonderful. I mean, for us, prospect huggers, it's great to see. So Michael Busch, though, left-handed swinger, he really can hit. He's got really, strong, good power. I think his hit tool, I think they had him at 50 or 55. I think it's way higher than that. I think it's a matter of what does he want to do? Does he want to hit for power, or really, what do the Dodgers want him to do? I got to get that right. The Dodgers want to hit for power, or do they want him to hit for an average? And so, then they're probably, we see it that the long ball is the thing now. That is the thing now. It'll be interesting though to see with the shift. The shift changes. Will it become more advantageous to have these lefties actually, not just trying to hit the ball over the fence, but get it? Maybe they can get on base more because the shift. I mean, it might mean 20 points to some of these guys in their batting average, and that's significant. That's a few hits over the season.
that is true. I mean, you already know, like a lot of these lefties, they dropped a lot of points because they always had that got one guy in the hole all the time in right field. So, I mean, as much as they want to say the shift is gone, I mean, you saw the other day. I don't know if you saw that picture where they put Joey Gallo was hitting and they moved the left fielder all the way back to where the shortstop or the second baseman we used to be all the time. So, I mean, technically it's not gone, but
Yeah.
but it's just the infield. They can no longer do that.
Yeah, and they will make and the Dodgers will be one of those teams. They're not going to show their hand until the season starts on those
Right.
types of things. But I'm sure the Dodgers, if anyone's going to have something to do, the Dodgers will be one of those teams that have something very innovative to try and deal with that. And I think, to be honest, I think with their athletic ability, I think they're more athletic when with Muncy at third. Vargas is very athletic.
Yeah,
And
he's been
then
making heck
and
of a plays over there too.
yeah, and then Rojas. I mean, that's and then with Freddie at first, if they're going to do anything, they got Miggy's athleticism. Maybe he can do some stuff. Speaking of Miguel Vargas, there he is. Looks like our starting second baseman in 2023. I'm excited. In fact, I made sure I picked him on my fantasy team. I picked him a lot higher than a lot of people would have. I don't care. I wanted Vargy on my team.
And a candidate
Um,
of the year too.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm not a betting man, but if I were betting, I would put some money on Vargas getting an MVP, getting not MVP, Rookie of the Year. But hey, maybe some MVP votes eventually too. But the funny thing is, on my fantasy draft, they only had him as a first baseman because remember he hardly played third base at all. He only played left field and a little bit of first. So
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
so I'll get some second base out of him. But this is a guy that is known who was his best position being a batter. We know that.
Yeah.
But the hard work that he's put in, you can see it. And again, I was talking with Casey about Vargas a little bit, and Vargas's athleticism is still underrated. So he did not grow up and get wide. He didn't get the jock butt, those that lower half, and he also didn't eat the donuts that Jock does. But Vargas is in his build is a good build in terms of being able to, I think, stay quick, stay fast. I think him not having to deal with those reactions at third, I think he just seems comfortable at second base.
Yeah.
Um, he doesn't have to worry about the hot shot down the line when he's only 80 feet away, playing up a little bit. So he looks really good. Um, and that finger thing, whatever, he's going to be fine. We already saw that. And what have
Yeah,
you
he's
seen?
that
What?
more now. So
Yeah, what have you seen of Miggy? I mean, you've seen him a lot.
I mean, honestly, I know he was always walking his first at bat when he wasn't swinging the bat. So I mean, you could just tell. I mean, his pitch recognition. I mean, the way he has great pitch recognition. He knows what to swing at. He knows that what pitch he wants to look for. I mean, honestly, and you can tell that he's just looking to hit the ball in the gap. Obviously, he's not trying to hit it over the fence or anything. He's just trying to make sure that if there's a guy on base, that he's trying to score them as well. So he's not a very hard pull guy all the time. He's gonna go the opposite way mostly.
Yeah, and you can see the strikeouts. He's under 100 each of his professional years, so that's a real positive. But right back to he knows how to read pitches. I mean, I think he has that extra gift, the innate ability to hit the ball. It's a gift, as there's not much harder than hitting a baseball.
Oh
It's
yeah.
such a hard thing to do, and for him to be able to step it up and be that type of player is just impressive. So, Miguel Vargas, your 2023 National League Rookie of the Year. We're calling it right now. And oh boy, big Bobby. And I finally met Bobby Miller. I had never met him before.
Same
And
here. Never.
you saw that picture I took, right, with him and Diego?
I don't think I did actually.
Oh
To be
man, I got so lucky. So quick story, everybody. So, I'm out there. I'm kind of low man on the ranking list for media access, but I got my media pass. I'm heading out to the minor league thing, and before that, there's the major league pitchers where the major league roster is working out. And Bobby's, a non-roster invitee, and he's out there. And I'm getting ready to set up my camera. Like, oh, I finally get to shoot Bobby Miller, And
honest.
just as I was getting set up, he finished. So I didn't get any of them. And so he's just cooling off, walking, just talking with his catchers and coach. And then Diego comes over a little about, I don't know, 10 yards away from me. And, just to get his stuff. And I go, hey, Diego, how you doing? He goes, hey, and he's very friendly. Diego's like, hey, how was your off? So, just friendliest of guys. Then Bobby Miller walks over. And I'm like, hey, guys, can you pose for a picture for me? And I got, a picture of Bobby and Diego, and I'll throw that up on the website. It's on the website. It's actually gotten a lot of play. But it's, maybe the top two prospects. We'll see who's number one. But it was one of those pictures, and then got to talk to Bobby a little bit afterwards. And another really friendly guy. Wasn't very pleased with his pen. Wasn't sure and the Dodgers really don't tell a lot of guys with their complete schedule, but he was just good to finally meet him. Good guy, and he's not on the 40-man roster, and he didn't have to be, so they're not going to throw a guy on the roster. But that 6'5", and I guess he spent some time getting in better shape. He takes a little bit of a hit for command and stuff, but he actually had a better walk rate, I think, than Gavin Stone did in 2022, that's a pretty good thing. So, you do, was it 37 walks and 112 innings? That's less than between 1 and 3 and 1 and 4 per one walk per 3+ innings. That's not bad.
Now, let me ask you this, Tim. Who do you think is going to make their debut first, Bobby or Gavin Stone?
Well, based on the way their spring trainings are going, I mean, just because it looks like Bobby still hasn't even pitched yet, I'd say it's probably going to be Gavin. But it also depends on what the need is, because I do see, if the Dodgers decide that they need a reliever, Bobby Miller's your guy.
That is true.
I mean, because he's throwing 100 as a starter. Imagine him in the bullpen.
Yeah, you're already looking at a good guy to come out and just lights out whenever he needs to relieve.
Yeah. So it's interesting though, but the guy, there's two guys that actually throw harder probably right now than Bobby Miller. One of the guy I talked about, one of the videos was Ronaldo Yin, a reliever. There's another guy the Dodgers got. His name is Jake Pilarski. And I remember and it was actually Dalton Rushing and Ryan January that brought him up to me. And because he was going to come out and pitch. I'm like, oh, okay, let me see this guy. And so I saw the guy, and he was bringing it. 101, 102. And so I threw out a tweet that said, hey, whatever scout signed Jake Pilarski deserves a raise. Guess what? That scout tracked me down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got just kind of a Twitter introduction. His name's Jonah Rosenthal, and Jonah, this is a guy that was kind of an internet pitcher. He's on there, and he starts getting love from different things. I can't remember the organization that he was working with. It wasn't the main guys. Oh, what are they? Driveline. It wasn't Driveline, but it was another velocity thing. And Pilarski looked really good. And so Jonah Rosenthal, man, great job out there. Yeah, the Dodgers, it's a team sport, and it's not just the guys on the field, it's the guys off the field. It's the guys from a Jonah Rosenthal to a Tom Myers, who helped sign I think Simon Reed and Jared Karros from the draft. I mean, Marty Lamb, I think he was the guy that was with Bueller. There's so many of these scouts out there. The Dodgers, a lot of teams cut back on their scouts. The Dodgers didn't. And they pay these guys, they want to keep the scouts because they're getting the best. And so Jake Pilarski is a guy that's throwing up there with the velocity of a Bobby Miller. And it's exciting. He's a guy that was just signed as a free agent.
Huh.
So there's your bonus material. And who knows, maybe you see Jake on one of these lists someday. Don't be surprised to see Jake. I don't think he pitches at Rancho. I think he goes higher than Rancho. I think it's either Great Lakes or Tulsa. That's just an opinion. So keep your eyes out for Jake Pilarski. And so, I mean, it's not going to be a surprise. The number one guy, it's Diego Cartaya. Just spoke about him with Bobby Miller. I mean, what can you say about the kid? He's such a
Yeah. I mean, honestly, just a great guy overall and a great baseball player. Honestly.
yeah. I mean, he's so he knows the spotlight's on him. I know you can see that, but he plays it well. He handles it really well. I mean, I think I really enjoyed. A shout out to Doug McCain, friend of the show here. I'm a friend of their show, but he had a really good interview, I thought, with Diego. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, Trinidad, but everyone
I
just
did.
Google up Dodgers Nation, Diego Cartaya. It's a great interview. Doug even gets him to talk about maybe someday even being a third baseman. We talked about the 10,000 Venezuelan catchers and Dalton Rushings and other guys like that. There's just a big group. Simon Reed, another guy, another catcher out there. Ryan January. There's just Hunter Fiducia. The guy's killing it at the
Yeah.
major league level, earning that. Another guy I finally met, and didn't meet him in 2019, but I did meet him finally in the clubhouse.
Just to
But
piggyback off what you said about him having the spotlight on him, I did see the interview, and what I liked what he said was that he's like, at the end of the day, it's very nice to know that you're the number one prospect or that you're in the top 100s list, but at the end of the day, the way he's like the way he looks at it is that you're still a minor leaguer, because he's like he's like at the end of the day, we can all be number one picks, but if you don't make it to the majors, you're just a minor league baseball player.
yeah,
And I took that as very as genuine as it sounded, because it shows that he's not just looking for the hype; he's looking to make it to the big stage. Obviously,
yeah. Yeah, you could just tell, the character there. He's raised well, and and got a little glimpse of him throwing. He threw out a runner the other day. It's hard to throw out runners these days because they have that advantage now with the pitchers not being able to throw over as much.
and the bases are
And
bigger.
yeah, don't get me started.
The pillows.
Yeah, yeah. Diego's, I think he's only still at 100 right now with his batting average, but and I hope with Barnesy and Will Smith off doing WBC that they've been playing the guys that are going to be the AAA catchers,
Right.
and those guys need to be ready for the major leagues, because if either one of those, Barnes or Smith, goes down, those guys get the call up, not Diego necessarily, unless it's long term.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they just decide Diego's crushing it and is ready, but let's just to temper the expectations. He was at high A. He's 21 years old. He's still, catchers they take the longest time to develop, and it's not the hitting, it's learning how to catch. I mean, we've seen that with Will Smith,
Right.
where, let's be honest, after Game 4 of the 2020 World Series, I literally wrote an article for Dodgers Nation saying Austin Barnes must catch the rest of the World Series.
Yeah.
But now look, Smith keeps getting better and better. He's doing a
Mhm.
lot better on everything, and it's a hard position. Did you catch?
I did actually.
Yeah, so it's a really hard position to play.
It's
Wears
very
you
hard
out.
not because people think like people may say, "Oh, it's hard because it takes a toll on your body," which it does. Obviously, your
Hmm.
knees start giving away for just being, squatting your whole, for 9 innings, which is equivalent to 2 to 3 hours almost.
Oh,
But at the end of the day, it's just that you have to know your hitters, you have to know your who's good on the base pass. You got to know the signs and know your pitchers. Yeah, it just becomes a mental game for you because technically you're the quarterback of the squad down there.
hmm. Yeah, that's a really good summary of what happens. I mean, I was left-handed, so I didn't get to play catcher after I was 12. Uh, but it was a rough position. It is rough, and that was as a 12-year-old cat, but it's a long time ago. But those catchers, they got to do the homework. I don't care about the pitch calling and all that's coming from the bench and all that. Still, at the end of the day, I trust Austin Barnes calling that game more than I trust any of the coaches. No offense to any of the coaches.
No,
There's
yeah,
no.
definitely. You could tell that Austin Barnes' knowledge is just way high. His IQ is just very high.
Yep, you're talking about the future manager of the Dodgers, in my opinion. I think Barnes is amazing. Um, but yeah, Diego is learning, and the expectations are high. I just as a warning, I would not. Let's don't put too much on him. It's a growing position. It's a position that, don't be surprised if he comes up and someday when he does come up, maybe he struggles a little bit. Maybe he, muffs a couple of pitches that he should have caught and things like that. That's just part of the growth process. Just remember what Will went through. Um,
I
hopefully
think
it's.
with the Will Smith situation, I think they're pretty much holding Diego back just to develop him more.
Hmm.
In that situation, because then too, you also have what's that prospect with the Mets, Francisco Alvarez?
Yeah,
He's already in the majors and he's only 21, so he's the same age as Diego. So and in reality, they're trying to use him more as a DH. So you kind of have
yeah.
already a knowledge that he probably hasn't even developed his catching skills that much yet. Still,
Can you imagine that young man going up to Justin Verlander or Max Scherzer, telling him, "Hey, let's calm down."
yeah,
Scherzer will just bite his head off.
yeah,
But
he'll just squat down and just catch me.
yeah, because they have to earn that respect
Right.
from those pitchers, and I think Diego and these Dodgers catchers are working on that so hard. Um, again, it's a big team, big coaching staff, big team working together to try to do that, and to have pitchers like Kershaw out there. We know Kershaw likes pitching to Barnes, no
Yeah.
secret there. But that's a preference, and he kind of gets to do what he wants because guess what? He's Clayton Kershaw. And Will Smith can't catch every game, but Will's top three catcher in the game,
Yeah.
and it's because the offense is there, but the defense is coming along. And with Diego, it's going to take time, and that's okay. And for me, I would love for him and Will and all these other catchers to be like Yainer Fernandez and be able to play a second position so you can keep their bat in the lineup. Because I want to see, I like to watch Diego catch, but man, I really like to see him hit.
Yeah, and it's true though because you already know that with JD Martinez being in a DH spot, that's your full time DH. So you're not going to see anybody else DH really.
Yeah. but we know that, that's one, maybe he goes a little longer, but in the future they'll mix that up a little bit again. I
Right.
think, as Freddie Freeman gets older, he'll spend a little time there. He is 33.
Hmm.
Um, and there's got, someone like Michael Busch get some time there. I mean, yeah, well, it's I hate the DH, but I like it. I
Yeah.
like I like guys getting the opportunity to hit when, just because, it's a spot, and a guy like Diego, he could rest. Will Smith, will I think he'll probably get some time at DH, even, but at the same time, I think it actually even hurts Will when he would DH on almost every game he wasn't catching.
Right.
I think he needed full days off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It would. I can see exactly where you're coming from too, as far as him being a DH and then switching off to catch and going back and forth with it.
Yeah. So with JD, hopefully JD could just crushes the ball and they go, hey, let's just rest Will Smith. Keep
Yeah.
him healthy. Keep him healthy for the season. We want Will Smith ready to go in October. We want a well rested Will Smith, well rested Austin Barnes, and someday a well rested Diego Cartaya getting ready to lead us to the promised land.
Right.
So, yeah, it's, as we see these guys, and, Diego's got a lot of height, but there's a lot of the guys could be the number one guy. Diego, is, we get it, and there's no
Well,
complaints here.
the way the Dodgers really hyped him up now, as far as like I said, they started posting him more on social media,
Yeah.
and then we saw him in Fan Fest, and we started
Mm-hmm.
seeing him do all this. Now he's with the roster. He's on the 40-man roster. So to me, it's you're either they're thinking like he's coming, or we at one point I was thinking, I know it won't happen, but I was thinking somebody was going to get traded because there was rumors going around. That's why I was like, well, I'm pretty sure Diego's on his way up because they're ready to get rid of one of these guys up in the on the roster. But then again, I don't think they would be willing to do that right now.
Yeah, I think that Will Smith is got to be an extension candidate. I think they have 3 more years of control of him.
Right.
So, that's he's a guy you hopefully keep around. But by the time, his 6 years is up and he's ready for free agency, he's gonna be 32, 33 years old.
Right.
And so maybe, yeah, we'll see. I I, I think, fortunately with the Dodgers, and we see in the past, when Cody Bellinger came up, he forced his way on the roster to stay. He wasn't meant
You're
to
right.
stay up. Alex Verdugo, same thing. Will Smith, same thing. Corey Seager was given the job, well earned, when he was up there. Now Miguel Vargas is being given a shot. The Dodgers, if you perform, you're going to play. It's just a matter, do you get that opportunity? And so, Will Smith came on like gangbusters. When he got called up in 2019, that was really fun. It's like, I thought he was just a defensive guy.
Yeah.
But
No, he's an
turns out
offensive guy.
he was quite a hitter for us. So yeah, it's very exciting to see these. We say it over and over, but it is exciting to see these guys and to know that they have a bright future. And and it may not be with the Dodgers. Not all these guys will be Dodger guys. Some will be traded, and it'll be good for them. You can't. None of these guys right now are going to be replacing Mookie Betts. None of them are going to be replacing Freddie Freeman. The only way that happens if they get hurt, and if they get hurt, we're in bigger trouble than you think.
Yep.
So for some of these guys, and I do like, I don't want to see any of them traded, but let's be honest, it's better for them sometimes to get moved. But now's the time for some of these guys. You got to play them or trade them. If you, want to, I don't, I don't want to see them wasting 3 months of James Outman's career in
Right.
at AAA. I don't want to see him wasting too much of Michael Busch or Ryan Pepiot. Let's give these guys some runway. Let's, you know, I think well, Vargas is definitely getting some runway. Busch, we're not so sure what's going to happen there. Pepio, it's either him or Grover, right, for that fifth spot. And if they're smart and do the sixth spot, which dang it, I should have talked to Friedman about it because I'm sure he was dying to hear my opinion about it. And I kid, folks. Really, Andrew Friedman does a really, really, really good job at what he does. He's he's a Hall of Fame executive. He's one of the best that we've ever seen. He's helped build an amazing group of players. So I'm just kidding. I know that there's that one commenter that's going to say something, but we don't, these guys, it's how good is it for someone like James to be down there, or for Michael Grove to be down for too much more Pepio. I'd like to see the 6-man rotation. I think it'd be really advantageous. And it would help when Gonsolin comes back. I mean, Gonsolin's never probably pitched more than 130 or 140 innings in his career. So
right, it's more the time that he took off last season from that injury too. So
yeah. And to be honest, Tony's not that big of a guy. I mean, he's not a tall guy. He's a former shortstop himself.
Right. Well, literally, Chris Campos is literally just another Tony Gonsolin right there, former shortstop.
Yeah, and River Ryan. Well, Campos also went to the same school.
Right, exactly.
Just later, yeah. River Ryan did not go to the same school, but the same thing. They're different. And what's his name? Andre Jackson also. He was an outfielder in college.
Right.
And became a pitcher and hurt his arm right away. So it's different because they're not conditioned. And sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad. But hey, the top 30, I hope everyone's enjoyed this. We've enjoyed the heck out of doing this thing. I mean, going through these lists.
That's for sure.
Yeah. And it's, it's just a list. It's subjective. There's no objectivity to it. For us, it's a chance to talk about the players. And
right. I mean, eventually the list is going to change down later in the season. So I mean, then we'll probably see guys that weren't even on here. That's why I was saying in the beginning, like, we're proud of these guys. Not everybody can make the top 30, but eventually guys you see right here are probably not going to be on there anymore. So, and it doesn't say that they're lacking or they're not doing well. It just means that there's other guys are given a chance now, pretty much.
Well, the first guy that's probably going to vanish from this list, to be honest with you, is probably Ryan Pepio. And not because he's going to drop off, it's because he's going to have enough innings and service time to not be a rookie candidate, a prospect anymore. He will have fulfilled his rookiness. And so Pepio, Vargas, and the fact Andre Jackson should be on this list, but he still has like another couple innings left of him. Michael Grove, yes, very, very true. So some of these guys will pop off because they get promoted off the list. And then you'll start seeing other guys like a Sean McLean or Theron Lorenzo or I think the Dodgers drafted 6 or 7 shortstops in 2022. Nico Perez, another one.
We'll probably see McLean.
Jose, not Josh. Lorenzo, I think is his name. His handle says Josh. I asked him, "Is your name Josh or Jose?" Because it was Jose somewhere else. He says, "Jose, just Josh, a nickname." So if it's Josh, Jose, not Josh, is his name. So, but yeah, guys are going to get promoted. We're going to see other guys, get moved. There will be an article that'll come out over the next week or so that will actually compare the previous list from last year at this time, or maybe from mid-year. I'll decide which one I want to do, just to see how much it does change in some of these new faces. But there's some seriously good new faces, some faces that have been here a couple years. We are real fortunate as Dodger fans to be able to have this list, to be able to have these players, and the fact that this list should be, you could go 40 or 50 deep with these guys, and you're not going to have a drop off compared to other teams. So, they are loaded. And with that, you got anything else, Trinidad? Any last thoughts?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm just ready for season to start already. I mean, don't get me wrong. The WBC is intense, obviously. Spring training, you're getting, which we're glad about. A lot of the prospects are getting playing time now, so they're going to get at bats. They're going to get exposed. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I just want to see season to start already. Let's get this ball rolling already.
Yep. And on that note, we close out our top 30 look at the MLB Pipeline top 30 prospect list for the Dodgers. That was published a couple weeks ago. And we're excited about it, and we are ready for a new season, and we'll come up with some new topics to talk about. If anyone has some topics they want to suggest, please hit us up in our comments. Please subscribe. We do appreciate that. I know a lot of you watch, but really haven't hit that subscribe button. So please do that. We'd appreciate it. We like numbers. We are baseball fans, so the bigger numbers we like. Bigger numbers the better. And so we appreciate that. Our Instagram, Twitter, it's all at Dodgers 2080. YouTube's at Dodgers 2080. And then, of course, our website is dodgers2080.com. And look for us out on the ball fields. You'll see us with if you can see it, our new shirts, our new polo shirts. Thank
New
you.
swag, new swag.
Yep. Thank you. These are not for sale. These are only for people that work for us. If you have editing skills, if you want to write for us, please hit us up. Thank you to Brian Ulrich, a friend of mine from Full Gorilla, for helping us design these polos and getting these out to us. And so we appreciate that. And we shall see you all with our next episode, whenever that may be. Thank you, everybody.
All right, guys.